All right, folks, welcome back inside the Journeyman Boxing Studios. This is Double Jab Radio. I'm your host, Rich Quinones, as we continue to talk boxing on a Tuesday, and we all know him as the Jersey Boy. 25-year-old super welterweight Glen Tapia is prepping for his WBO NABO super welterweight class against Daniel Dawson March 7th in Mackay, China. And he's kind enough to join us a couple moments. Looks like he's out on the West Coast enjoying the sun while we're dealing with the snow. Glenn, always good to catch up to you, pal. How's everything?
Feels great. I'm sorry for throwing that in our faces, but the sun feels great out here too, a little bit.
Well, we might have to call you back up if we need our driveways shoveled. So listen, we know you got the fight coming up with Dawson, and we're going to get into that. But I know a lot of people wanted to know, on the record, you're always candid, you're always honest. Let's set the record straight on a couple things. You got denied a boxing license in July, forcing your fight on the GGG Gill undercard to be canceled. I know you were slated to fight Salim Larbe, who coincidentally took the fight when your original opponent, Boyd Melson, dropped out because of a shoulder injury. And I guess where some of the confusion lies is, according to reports, the medical team in New York did not approve your blood work. However, the same blood work was approved in New Jersey for your last fight. Actually, your last two fights were in Atlantic City. So kind of set the record straight, and have you gotten clarity since that situation?
The crazy thing is, the thing that I have is they don't even check it in New York. They don't check for that in New York. So if you do have that, I forgot what the name of it right now at the top of my head. I forgot, but it's like if your blood is kind of thin or something like that. But they don't check for that in New York. So if you do have that, you're okay. Where you can still fight. They don't even check for it, you know. So in New Jersey, they actually check for that. They check for it if you have that in New Jersey. So me fighting in New Jersey, you should give them the green light on it, because if you have it, they check for that in New Jersey. If you have it in New Jersey, you can't fight at all. So the guy what happened was the doctor in New Jersey, he pulled his level. He reported clear. He said, Glen Tapia had this whole career. He's been fighting this. He had his whole life. He's been fighting with this his whole life. He had his whole career, his boxing career, and his professional career. He's really actually kind of normal, you know. The normal is 50% and up, you know. But his is like 48, 49, you know. So he's normal, you know. He's kind of normal with nothing. And then after he said he's good to fight with this all this fight, whatever. He said at the end he put people get that from, you know, just to, I guess, clear as that check, like, you know, for he could be cleared. You know, he put that at the end, and it just like they just lit. It was the day before. I would have got cleared if it was like a couple days before, but it was the day of the weigh-in that he wrote this, you know. So it was just too late, and it was just like crazy. It was like, wow, you know. He just actually kind of fucked me a little bit, you know. So it was just really bad.
What's weird too is because, as you mentioned, you already fought in Jersey, and your blood test results were sent from Jersey to New York, which is standard. But again, so we got a little more clarity on that, and I'm sure it did set you back, because I know when we spoke, you were looking forward to that fight. But with that being said, any issues right now? You know, your fight is going to be March, so I'm assuming everything's medically cleared. I know it's in China, but just everything, there's not going to be an issue in your eyes going forward with this fight.
No, not at all, because I already fought two again in Jersey after that, you know. Like,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Not at all.
All right, well, let's get into the fight against Dawson. Tough guy, gave some real issues to Austin Trout, dropped the former WBA 154 champ twice in the third round in his last fight. You know, Trout, to his credit, came back, won the fight, but Dawson also fought, I believe, Sergey Zinarok from the Ukraine, who was a WBO junior middleweight champ, fought, as we mentioned, Gill, who was a former one-time IBF middleweight champ. So I know that was in 2007. this guy's a 40-fight veteran. He's fought champions before. Kind of a twofold question. A, to me, I believe this is your stiffest test of your career aside from the Kirkland fight. And B, is this a test where, about in your mind, where this can take you, and I say this with respect, from what many might deem as a B-class level fighter to an elite boxer who is trying to show people he's here to stay?
Yes, definitely. This big fight, is on HBO. Not everybody's seeing it besides me fighting over there in China. That's great, but it's an HBO, so now the whole world's gonna see, And I just want to show everybody that I'm here to stay and what I have to offer, I love entertaining. I don't want to be just a champion. I want to be one of the best champions, I love to entertain. I love to fight, I just want to bring that back, that is not just for money, right? It's for pride and legacy, it's bigger than that, and that's what I want, man. The money gonna come, of course, but it's more of, back then, the fighters used to fight everything, just because they believe this that bigger, it's more about pride and their legacy and everything, it's like, it wasn't about too much money. It wasn't that. Of course, the money is important, but it's more about, like their pride, I guess. They fought with they fought with something to prove, and that's what I brought. And of course, for the fans too, I wanted more, but either I'm trying to knock the guy out or I'm trying to give him a fight good as stamina. And of course, I use my brain in there now, more than before, but still the same goal, that's what I love about boxing. And I feel like it's dying out a little bit, man. Nothing like that. I don't like that at all.
Well, you mentioned things have been different from your last couple bouts. And again, talking to Glen Tapia, March 7th in Mackay, China, he'll take on Daniel Dawson. And again, this is really a career-defining fight for you, obviously, because when you look at what's at stake at the end of the day, it can really jumpstart, or I don't know, like say jumpstart or re-jumpstart, but when you get that type of jewelry in the drawer, so to speak, then now all of a sudden you have an opportunity down the road for some eliminators and really world title belts. So you mentioned how you're a different fighter since the Kirkland fight, and we know it would have been your second fight since you started training with Hall of Famer Freddie Roach, who also trains Zhou Shiming, who's going to be the main event when he fights for the IBF flyweight title as the main event on in your bout, as you're the undercard. So what have you been able to take away? What's the one thing that Freddie said to you? Look, this is what we need to work on, hands down. No questions asked. You do it my way, or that's it.
The main thing is, he's been telling me the whole time. He understands that I really have boxing skills. I can either roll or box. And besides that, I got power. I hit real hard. So he understands that. But he always tells me, I gotta learn how to use my brain instead of my balls, my brain instead of my heart, so he just keeps telling me that, and it's there already, it's there, and he told me that a lot, and little things in between there, in between that, like it's just, fundamentals, he teaches me so much, it's so much I learned, he's really smart, and we just got a good, he likes teaching me, and we just got a good chemistry. We're going to be in that way for 8-10 rounds, straight. I'm taking like water a couple times and the whole time. Then we're looking at the belt. We just work, and it's just, it's fun, man. It's fun. I just love it. I love this, man. I love the work. So.
You mentioned that you want to think more because you can be a banger, you can be a brawler, and we've seen that heart on full display when you fought Kirkland, and the last two fights, obviously, you were able to make some quick work of your opponents. Look, I know you're not going to go on the record and give the game plan away here, but I'm just curious, and I'm sure the listening audience, they know your style. You do like to sometimes come straight forward. So with that being said, how are you going to stay within yourself where your gut and your heart is saying, okay, I can throw with this guy, but the mind is saying, well, let's box him a little bit and feel him out, and then take it from there.
You can still brawl, but without getting hit, I guess, so now it's more about when I do go in there and brawl more defense and more distance, I know where I'm at. I know I can step back a little bit, he can't hit, and I can just step back in. Or I could it's just little things like that, that's just perfect, that I'm learning so much, and I know I can do it. But it's still gonna be fun, I'm still trying not to get out, and that's what I do. Most of the guys, if I can, of course, if I can't, I'm ready for the distance. I'm ready for the whole bumper or turn around, whatever. I'm ready for that, and just breaking down the guy and just be the guy. Even if I do go the distance, it's still the same. It doesn't have to be a knockout, but not to be very comedic. But it's not to be the same, it can still be entertainment if I go the distance, and I'm starting to understand that a lot now, and I can do it 100%.
One more quickie for you, and again, appreciate a couple moments on this edition of Double Jab Radio, speaking with Glen Tapia. Rich Quinones inside the Journeyman Boxing Studios. Not to look past this fight, but the calendar year 2015, I know you said months ago when you had your last several fights in Atlantic City, you told me that you were ready for 2015 to not only show people that you didn't go anywhere, but you're ready for a breakout year. Where do you put yourself right now, respectively, in your mind, in your division? And I mean, obviously, it's a huge fight for you. It's a huge fight. I'm not asking you to look past the fight, but a lot of times, guys have tunnel vision where they have an X amount of number in their head of fights where they want to get. But I kind of think you're past that. It's more or less quality of fights and not the quantity of fights. So with that being said, kind of talk a little bit about 2015.
I did say that to you. It was more of me understanding where I'm at, and me understanding my heart and my mind and how I think more. People would have said I was retired. I would have never been here, because after the curtain fight, so many people counted me out, and they said I was done, or whatever. And look where I'm at. People counted me out in the curtain fight, like after the curtain fight. I mean, like they thought I was gonna be done. I should retire. It was like, wow, it's massive to change this kid's life, but not into that. How my mentality is that actually is supposed to be. I don't really care about it. This is what it is. It comes with losses. This is what comes with losses. That actually made me a better fit. And that's where I'm at now, compared to where people would have said if I would have still listened to people, where I would have been, where they would have been. So now, with coming to 2015, I'm gonna show people that I'm still here. I just want to bring entertainment. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's coming at all. I really don't. Well, I know after this fight, I'm gonna be on the next level because I'm gonna show them that I'm there. I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm really here, and I'm here for a long. I'm gonna be here for a long time. I'm only 25. I'm somebody to be reckoned with. I'm gonna be here.
Glen, always appreciate a couple moments of your time, and the best of luck in China. Hopefully we'll talk either way after the fight. Always appreciate you jumping on board for a couple minutes on Double Jab Radio.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you very much.
So there you have it, 25-year-old super welterweight Jersey boy Glen Tapia joining us for a couple moments as he preps for his upcoming WBO, NABO super welterweight clash against Daniel Dawson, March 7th in Mackay, China, which is, without a doubt, the biggest fight of his career. All right, folks, another edition of Double Jab Radio Live from the Journeyman Boxing Studios is in the books. Special thanks to the aforementioned Jersey boy Glen Tapia for jumping on board today. This edition of Double Jab Radio has been proudly sponsored by Casanova Boxing Gloves, Victory Boxing Gym in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and, of course, the Atlantic City POW in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The AC POW, always making a difference. Everyone have a good Tuesday night. Todo el mundo tiene un buena noche martes. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of Double Jab Radio. And as always, to our friends in Spain and Latin America listening to us online at www.journeymanboxing.com. Oh, mercy para nosotros, amigos, que nos escuchan en España y América Latino. Gracias por tu tiempo, and please follow me on Twitter, RichQ1Q, and our photographer, Shirei Shugogi, at @shugogi. Finally, remember, it's not the destination, but the journey you should enjoy. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you Wednesday. Hablar con usted más tarde for another edition of Double Jab Radio. And as always, we'll see you next time.